Hello guys, welcome to all of you in Code T Point. My name is Amit and today we are going to continue with Python learning series. In this tutorial, we are going to cover indexing and slicing in Python. It is one of the very important topic which required operations in sequence data type, and we will see the uses of indexing and slicing into the frequent programming space, right? So the question is, what is indexing? It is one of the way or one of the method to extract the element from the sequence data type. We can say that the ordering inside the sequence data type, they follow some numbers. Like, when we say sequence data types, it means it follow certain ordering. Those ordering are called indexing, right? In Python, the indexing start with 0. So we can say that is the first element of the sequence data type is sitting on 0 indexing positions. Second elements of the sequence data type is standing on first indexing position, and so on. So we will see through the example and then we will have a clarity on it. The second concept of today's agenda is slicing. So we can say that is, if we can extract the multiple element from the sequence data type, then we call as a slicing. So in other words, we can say that is, it's a subset of sequence data type when we try to extract more than one element. So the slicing concept is based upon indexing, and we will see how we can writing those kind of programming, and we will see how we can write some example so that we can have a better understanding on it. So let's go to the notebook and understand it in little much better way. So I'm going to write one word. Let's say I'm just taking a word called Python. Correct? So this is a string, and we can say there are 6 elements inside this string, right? First element is P, second is Y, third is T, and so on, right? So we can say that is, this element is 0th indexing positions. This element is first indexing positions. This element is second indexing positions. This is third. This is fourth indexing position, and this is fifth. So whenever we travel from left to right, like, in standard practice to read from left to right, we follow positive indexing. So we can say it's a positive indexing. So when we travel from left to right, then we follow 0 and so on. 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So this is following positive indexing. But when we travel from right to left, in that case, we will say it is a negative indexing. So in this case, let's say we follow right to left. In this case, we follow negative indexing. Negative indexing, right? And then n will be -1. So the negative indexing start with -1. O will be -2. H will be -3. T will be -4. Y will be -5. And P will be -6. So this is a, like, sequence we follow when we follow the negative index. It start with -1, and then we will follow -2, -3, and so on, right? So let's see if we want to extract one of the element from this string. So let's say we want to extract P from the Python. So then what we need to write? We can write the name of the variable which is representing by s. Okay. And after that, we will write the square bracket. And inside the square bracket, we will write index. So since p is a first indexing values, so I will write 0. And once you execute this piece of the code, we will get p. For y, we will write s square bracket, and inside the square bracket, we will write 1. It will give us y. Correct? Similarly, s2, what it will give? It will give t, right? And so on. So for s5, it will give us n. Correct? So let's say if we follow the negative indexing, then what we will write? We will write s minus 1. In that case, it will give us n. If we write s minus 2, what it will give us? O. Correct? And if we write s minus 6, it will give us p. Correct? So this is a way to write or way to extract the element from the string or the sequence data type. Same thing is going to applicable for list, tuple, and dictionary. So let's say I'm going to create a list. So let's say a is equal to 1, 2, 3, and let's say hello. In this case, if I want to extract the last element, what I will write? A minus 1, and it will give us hello. Correct? Similarly, the first element, what we will write? A0, it will return us 1. Correct? So the concept is remains same for list, tuple, string, or dictionary. So let's go for slicing. So what will happen? In slicing, we can say the structure is, so like again, let's say I'm just picking up same example, Python. For example, if you want to extract p and y together, previously we were extracting one element. This time we are extracting some piece of the elements, or you can say slicing. So this time we are trying to extract p and y together. So what will happen? In this case, we can write the structure of this slicing is start indexing followed by colon, stop indexing, and indexing, and then followed by colon, and then we follow step. So we can say S bigger bracket, start, stop, and a step. So this is a structure, right? So in this case, so let's say we would like to start with P and we would like to end with Y. So start with 0, stop. So that means this is my first indexing value. So if we are going to write 0 colon 1, it means that is, it is following the same kind of the behavior when we look into or when we write range. Like in a range, we'll say 1, 10. In this case, it is not going to touch the last element, which is 10, but it is going to stop at one previous element, like 1 to 9. Similarly, in this case, if we want to go for y, then we need to increase the last element by 1. So in this case, it was 1. So we need to increase by 1 more. So we can say 0 colon 2. And in this case, step is once because we are moving every single elements. And it will return us P and Y. Correct? So let's go into the Jupyter notebook and see through the examples, right? So I'm just taking the same example over here. Let's say I'm just writing Python, and what I'm going to write S and then square bracket. This time I'm just putting 1. So what we'll get? P. Again, for this time, if I put 1, what we will get? Y. Correct? So let's say this time what I'm going to put? -1. What we will get? N. Correct? Again, if I'm going to use, let's say 2, then what we are getting? T, because it is following 0, 1, 2, right? So this is about indexing. So let's talk about slicing. Now, what I'm going to do is, let's say this time the structure is start, stop, and step. So it is going to start with 0, colon, 2, and step is 1. So if you execute this piece of the code, what we are getting? P and Y, right? Let's say we are going to write 0, colon, 2, and let's say 0, colon, 6. So it is going to start with 0 indexing values and it is going to up to 6 indexing values. So 0, colon, 6 and colon 1. Let's execute it. So what we are getting? We are getting entire string, right? Now, if I'm going to use this piece, this example, so let's say this time I'm not giving any values to the start, right? So what I'm giving? Colon, and only giving the ending values. So let's say ending values 3 and step is 1. So what we are getting? P, Y, T. So in this case, if you do not give any starting positions, by default it will take 0. Similarly for here, again, if we are going to use, I'm not giving any starting values, only giving the stop value, and this time again I'm not giving any instructions for steps, and then I'm executing it again. This time again we are getting PYT. So the default step is 1 and default starting point is 0. Okay, default step point is 1 and default start point is 0. So let's say in this case what we are going to do is, this time I'm not giving any starting value, any ending values, or any step values. So only giving colons. So what will happen? It is going to cover entire string, right? So because in this case, it is going to read entire string, right? Again, I'm just taking one more example. Let's say this time I'm just going to start with 1, then followed by colon. I'm not giving any stop positions, and then again I'm not giving any value for steps. So what will happen? It is going to skip the 0th indexing values. It is going to start with 1, right? And which is why it is started with YTHON, right? Let's say we want to reverse the string. We want to reverse the string, or let's say my name is Amit. If you want to reverse the name of name, then how we can write this program? In this case, we are going to use, we are not giving any instruction for starting and ending, and only we are giving the instruction for steps. So what the steps? It is going to read from right to left. So the steps I am giving -1 and then executing. So it is going to read from right to left. So it will be, return us the reverse of the string. So let's say in this case, if I am not giving two columns instead of one single column, and then I am going to write -1, what will happen? It is going to read from left to right, but it is not going to reach on the last, or you can say the last element of the string, right? So you can say that is default step is 0 and it is going to read till the positions, and for -1 it is going to skip that values. Similarly for here, if I am going to use, let's say in this case 1, and then it is, what will happen? It is taking the default value is 0 and stop value is 1, correct? Stop value is 1. So that means, and the default step is 1. In this case, it is going to travel, or it is going to stand. Our cursor will be stand only P, because since it is stopping value is 1 only, in this case, it is not going to travel on Y, and my cursor will be stand on P only, because the default step is 1. So let's say if I am going to increase my default step by 2, right? So what we are getting? PTO. So because start with 0, first element is Y, first indexing values is Y, then next is 2. So it is going to skip 1 steps and moving to the next step, right? So that's why we are getting P, skip Y, then T, then skip H, then O, then skip N, right? So this is how we are getting the, slicing. So let's say if I'm taking one more example. In this case, this time I am not giving anything, neither start positions, neither stop, neither steps. In this case, it is going to read the entire string. So let's say in this case, I'm giving 0. Ending is, let's say, I'm giving 0 and step is 0. So can anyone guess over here what should be the output? In this case, we will hit the error because slicing steps cannot be 0, because the steps cannot be 0. It has to be given some number other than 0. Let's say in this case, we are giving 0, 0, 1. What should be the value? It will give us a blank, because start will be 0, end will be 0, and it is, the step is 1. So that means our cursor will be standing at the same point. It will give us a blank space. It is not going to travel either to the left or the right. It is standing on the 0th indexing values, right? So that's why we are getting the values is a blank space. So this is all about, guys, slicing and indexing in Python. And we will see more operations, or we can say more operations about list, tuple, and so on in the next class. Let me take one more example for you guys. So let's say this time I'm going to take a list A, and I'm just taking hello 1, 5, 10, 20. Okay. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use slicing. So a 1 comma 5 and executing. So what is happening? It is skipping because my start value is 1, end value is 5 and step is 1. So it is start with 1 going to 5, 10 and 20. Correct? Again, if I'm going to take like this case, so what will happen? It is going to reverse my list, right? One more step, one more example. Let's say in this case, I'm just taking 0 colon 2. Then what will happen? It is going to, here it is start with 0, end with 2. It is going to cover hello and 1. So let's say in this case, I'm just taking one more example. I'm just taking step is 2. Then what will happen? Only hello. So let's say I'm just increasing the step count, I'm just increasing the stop. So let's say 6. So what will happen? It start with hello. It will not go to 1. It will go to 5 because in this case, my step is 2. So one step is going to skip. So the next step will be 5. Then it will skip 10. Then it will goes to 20. So hello, 5 and 20. Correct? So this is how we can understand about indexing and slicing into sequence data types. So guys, you can do some more practice. Okay. If you have any queries or any program related issues, feel free to post to a query and I will try to respond it. So guys, we have also a paid training for data science, machine learning, Python and visualizations tool like Power BI and Tableaus. So if you'd like to go for the paid trainings, please fill up the form given the link below. Our team will reach out to you and they will guide you how to proceed further. So thank you guys. Thank you once again.